Okay, so today we'll discuss about EC2. What is the meaning of EC2? Elastic Compute Cloud. Okay, so what we are going to get from the EC2 is, so what we are going to get from the EC2? Okay, so we are getting
Instant virtual.
virtual computing infrastructure. What is the meaning of virtual computing? What is the meaning of virtual computing? So here we are getting the virtual servers. Okay, so the computing resources are called as CPU and memory. Those resources we are getting. Okay, so then what EC2 is providing is providing Linux, Windows, and Mac servers. It is getting Linux, Windows, and Mac servers we are getting from the EC2. Okay, so previously we need to purchase the physical hardware. Okay, so we need to purchase physical hardware. That hardware may be like CPUs, memory, all those we need to purchase. But if I go for EC2, okay, you no need to take a single hardware also. Today I'll show, say here we have AWS. Okay, I log into AWS using AWS Management Console. Okay, so what is the AWS Management Console is? What is AWS Management Console? Okay, so now through GUI, we can create the resources. Okay, most of the AWS resources, we are managing through GUI. All these days, what we are doing is, like through GUI, we are logged into AWS Management Console. From that, we are going to create the resources. Okay, so now here I log in with my login details. Then we are getting all these AWS services. Second method is, we can use CLI. Okay, what is the meaning of CLI? Command line.
Command
Okay,
line.
instead of
Command line
using through
interface.
GUI, we can use through the command line we are going to manage. Through the command line we are going to manage. The third method what we have is, like we are going to manage this through like APIs or SDKs. As the name suggests, Amazon Web Services, we are going to manage them through APIs or SDKs. What is the advantage? What is the advantage of this? Like programmatically we can manage. Programmatically, as the name suggests, Amazon Web Services, AWS will expose some APIs or SDKs. From that we can manage. The next method what we have is IAC. Okay, so DevOps wise, we have infrastructure as a code. Okay, what is that meaning is infrastructure as a code. Using the Terraform kind of tools, we are going to provision. So using the Terraform, we are going to provision. Okay, so then one more method what we have is AWS itself has given their own IAC solution, Cloud Formation. Okay, so all these years, how we have managed the AWS is, the easiest method is GUI. The easiest method is GUI. Okay, so today even a layman also can use the GUI, but that's not the enterprise use case. Okay, we need to automate it through programmatically. Then what is the problem with APIs or SDKs? We need to write a Python kind of code or Java kind of code. But instead of using that, AWS has given IAC solution. What is the meaning of IAC? Infrastructure as a code.
Information as cloud.
So here you may get a doubt. Here already IAC means already infrastructure as a code we have, right? Then what is the difference between Python and this IAC? Whatever the Terraform kind of code we are using is very simple JSON or YAML or human readable kind of scripts we can use. In the ISC, we are not using traditional programming like Java, .NET. Okay, we are using very simple YAML or JSON, HCL kind of scripts we'll use. Those are human readable. What is the advantage of it? Humans also can easily understand those. Okay, so humans also can easily understand. Okay, so now we got a new method of managing AWS resources. What is that? Now we got a new approach. Okay, that approach itself is agentic AI. Okay, so these all the five methods or the traditional methods or the new way of managing all this is the agentic AI. Also, we are going to manage the agents. The backend it itself will create all those. It may use AWS CLI, it may use a Terraform. You no need to develop all those. Who is doing? Our agent itself will perform all these operations also. That is the modern approach. Okay, all these days we used all this. We took a lot of time to create the Terraform. We use HDK or CDK. Okay, so to understand EC2 today is not a new technology, but what we need to understand is how the agentic AI can automate those use cases is what business is expecting. Okay, so firstly we'll go through EC2 and even more details we'll discuss on the EC2 also. I'll share some more videos also. Okay, so now here I'm going to create an EC2. I hope everyone can book a mobile or laptop in the Amazon or Flipkart, right? The similar kind of complexity. Okay, we are not going to train on Amazon, Flipkart how to book a mobile or laptop. Okay, everyone book their laptops or mobiles in the Flipkart, Amazon. Now here we are booking those from the AWS. We are going to book it, but those physically they will deliver those resources for you. But here what is happening?
virtually.
Virtually we are getting. Okay, so in all these days we got physical resources, but now what we are doing is virtually we are getting these resources. Already I have how many instances are running here? 8 instances. Okay, so we deployed some applications. Those all applications are using these instances. That means for our websites, for all those, we are using this. So we have the different applications, and if you see all these, our CloudSoft websites, our Voice of Village, we have some applications. Those all running on EC2 instances. Okay, so now here I'm going to launch a new instance. Okay, then what we are getting from the instance means, what is the meaning of instance?
Server.
The server itself. Technically, it's not a desktop class. So it's a server class. What is that meaning? Desktop class means normal your laptops, all those comes under desktop class. In that you are installing Windows 10, Windows 11 like that. Okay, but in the cloud or data centers, we need server class. Windows Server we need. Windows Server 2020, like 2016, 2019, 22, 25. Okay, why we need those servers? I'll tell one example. Say everyone are using Windows 10 or Windows 11. Why we are using Giza? Maybe like for your personal needs, okay, or for office needs. Okay, otherwise we may be using for videos, media kind of content, or to prepare your resumes, Word documents, Excel sheets. Okay, but server class is different. Okay, so why we are using server class? We are using for maybe Active Directory wise, IAS wise, or to host the databases. Okay, or to deploy your applications, file servers. Okay, DNS servers, DHCP servers. That is not for desktop purpose. The server class we are using to host your websites, to host your applications, for databases, file servers, okay, for middlewares, SMTP kind of servers. For that purpose we are using. Even if we go for Linux also, Linux also is available some Ubuntu desktop versions. Okay, but we are not going to use those desktop versions in the EC2. The EC2 is purely giving us servers only. Okay, if you want to purchase that server hardware, minimum investment for the hardware itself, $4,000 to $5,000 you need to invest. Okay, so normally your laptops may be available for $1,000 to $2,000, but server class hardware is available at $4,000 to $5,000 is the minimum. Okay, that means today you want to take an EC2 instance. Now we need to take a server class hardware is required. Okay, but if I go for EC2 here, I no need to take a single hardware. And I want networking. I want switches, firewalls, routers, and I want a hard disk. Okay, without requiring anything, we are going to get the EC2 instance. That is our virtual server. Why we are going to use? Why we are going to use here? To deploy our applications. To deploy our applications, we are going to host. We are going to deploy our. So one example I'll tell. So we have lot of applications has been hosted. Those are developed on Node.js or Java Spring Boot. Okay, so they may be static websites or some may be dynamic websites. Okay, so those all we are going to deploy on our EC2 instances. So then, can you tell me EC2 comes under which type of service? So EC2 is IaaS or PaaS? Infrastructure as a service itself. EC2 comes under, okay, then what about RDS? RDS stands for Relational Database Service. RDS comes under IaaS or PaaS? RDS comes under IaaS or PaaS? It's a PaaS-based service. What is that meaning of PaaS-based? We'll discuss. If we go for the PaaS, you no need to worry about the server. Normally, I'll tell the life of one database admin. Okay, we need to take a Solaris server. On top of the Solaris server, okay, so EMC team may give the storage. Okay, that storage, all that will have like a one EMC or maybe one storage would be there. On top of that, he is installing Oracle. Okay, then we are going to manage even the backups, all those also we are going to manage. That means here to manage the database, previously we have the Solaris admins. Okay, even that Solaris hardware also will have the server admins. Okay, now we have database wise, we have like DBS, then we have storage admins from DMC teams, then we have the backup teams. Okay, so these many resources are required to manage a production Oracle database. But now, if I go for the database from RDS, you no need to manage any of those. One AWS guy itself is enough, and he can manage Oracle, he can manage MySQL, he can manage Postgre, he can manage SQL Server. In my project previously, if I have SQL Server, again I need a Windows Server cluster I required, then again I need storage. That Oracle guy can't manage SQL Server again. Then again I want SQL Server DBA is required. Okay, but these things are managed by very large scale enterprise companies like Bank of America, JPMC, only those kind of clients only able to manage. For normal people, it's almost impossible to manage. Then all those days, we are getting using LAMP servers. That means 10 years back, 15 years back, most of the websites are deployed on LAMP servers. The problem with the LAMP servers are, those are not enterprise class. Only the basic websites we can host. But today, like with the cloud, the EC2 has helped some millions of startups. They can develop the enterprise applications. Okay, so that means previously those all just dreams for the startup kind of companies, but cloud has helped them. And now most of the 93% of the enterprise applications also has been moved to cloud itself. Now here we need, everyone in the world now need computing. Okay, so whatever the IoT device you will use, or whatever this AI solutions you will use, or you are using ChatGPT, you are using Gen AI, you are generating some code, you are generating the images. For everything in the back end is required. Okay, computing is required. Or you want to host the websites, you want to do some data engineering. Okay, so data engineering wise, I'll tell one example. Say I have 1,000 vendors, or maybe Amazon, these kind of companies will have some millions of vendors also. Means those are not the customers. Okay, so those who, the shops, all those also will tie up with Amazon. There all the reports, some of them may be giving in CSV format. Some of them are giving maybe in the notepad. Some of them may be giving in the access kind of database. Some of them are giving legacy databases. All that data I want to store in my database. That's what data engineering means. Means every day I'm getting almost 1 lakh different flat files or unstructured data. Those are the different sources. Okay, but all those I need to store in my structured database. I need to store. For that, we need to run the data engineering. I need to run. Okay, so today in the AI, data engineering also is our job role. Okay, so data engineering also, but these 1 lakh documents or 1 million documents need to be processed. That required again computing. That required huge computing, and we are going to do some ML kind of programs. Okay, we are going to do like say suppose in any bank per day maybe you took UPI payment system. They are going to get some millions of transactions are happening, but in that they need to identify some fraud transactions. Okay, those all transactions they will train in ML model. With the today all that 1 billion transactions, they are going to detect some like fraud transactions that ML system need to run, and for 1 million systems, we need backend huge computing is required. For all these, we are going to use our EC2 instances. Today, everyone need the huge computing. Previously, we have those physical servers, those moved to virtual. Now we are getting in the cloud. In the cloud, we are calling those as EC2. But only EC2 is not the enterprise use case as of now. Only EC2 is not the enterprise use case. We want the computing means one service additional to this we have is Lambda. So definitely now with the AI kind of solutions, we require very good knowledge on Lambda also. Okay. So people like will skip all these things, but real time required all these things. Okay. So institutes can easily tell this not required, not required. We are also happy we can skip it. But in the job, we need to have all this. Okay. What is the meaning of Lambda? I will tell. Lambda is a serverless computing. Okay. That means always maintaining a servers are expensive kind of thing. My job is only 11 to 12 some events I want to trigger. Means I'm using that resources only for 1 hour. Okay. So then for 1 hour I'm not going to maintain the EC2 instances. I'll use serverless. Otherwise some event happen, then only work. But 24/7 I don't want to maintain the EC2 instances because I need to pay huge money. These kind of requirements choose to go for Lambda kind of services. Okay. So then the cost is can be reduced. Okay, so what is the advantage of using? So suppose I'll tell this one in technical terms. We'll call this as event driven. If the event happen, then only I'm going to call my Lambda. But if I use the EC2, my EC2 is waiting for 24 hours for that event. Okay, but what Lambda is doing, when an event happened, then only that Lambda is going to trigger. The main advantage is like we no need of servers in our life. For admins, servers will create job opportunities. But for developers, those are the burden only. But if they go for serverless, no need to maintain a single server also. Virtually that computing we are getting from the serverless. Okay, then we have one more is there. That is called as a containers. Okay, so now the new method is mostly we need to have the EKS or ECS is required. Means we are going to deploy on the containers we are going to deploy or Kubernetes we are going to deploy. So today you go through any of the enterprise AI, ML, all these services are mostly running on Kubernetes itself. You are watching Netflix, you are watching Amazon Prime, you are like maybe a Hotstar. Okay, all are running on Kubernetes itself. Okay, maybe not EKS, other many, but Kubernetes is the base. So that means we are not taking EC2 only. We are not going to take EC2. I have here a doubt. So now we are calling about the AI or agentic AI, right? Is it having any of the computing in the backend? No. That's again required cloud itself. If you develop any of the agents or you use any of the Gen AI, the backend it required cloud. So in our enterprise applications, your application or agents also required computing is required. That computing you can choose on EC2, you can choose on containers, you can choose on Lambda, you can choose on Kubernetes. Okay, so EKS also. Then AWS have one more solution called as Beamstack. What is the Beamstack is? I'll tell one use case. I hope everyone knows how to attach an email to Google, right? In the same way, attach your code to like Beamstack, they will deploy everything. Okay, but that's not that much successful because with the sample applications, it's working very well. For the real applications, most of the times it is failing. But what is the concept? You just upload the code, everything is taken care by Beamstack itself. But among these, I said about 5 things, right? One is EC2. Second one is Lambda. Third one is like maybe EKS or ECS. Then we have Beamstack. Then which one is the enterprise class? Which one is the enterprise class here? Okay, EKS is the enterprise class. So you have huge workloads are running for finance, fintech, or maybe insurance kind of companies. They can't take EC2 instances. They're going to use EKS clusters we are going to use. But don't expect EC2 itself is not our future. And for our AI applications also, we need cloud computing is mandatory to deploy our applications. On-premise is very less, 10 to 15% of use case itself. 90% they will choose
Virtually.
cloud itself. And for AI, ML ops, AI ops, AWS also have their own services. Those also we can use. Since all are very tightly integrated. Okay. So only one thing if you learn, other areas gaps would be there. Other areas gaps would be there. Now here I'm going to create an instance. Now everyone can take an account in AWS. It's a free tier account we'll get, or they're going to give $100 credit for us. Some $100 or $120 credit we can get, and we can use that account. Okay. So today everyone create an AWS account. Creating an AWS account, those steps again don't come here. So everyone are created Insta account, right? Yeah, no one joined any institute there. Everyone booked any laptop, joined any institute. People are expecting when they come to EC2, I want to know that these all self-explored steps. That means everyone can navigate and everyone can do it. Okay, those are not the use cases we are going to learn. But institutes are training this one. Okay, people also happy because they will assume AWS is very easy. Azure is very easy. But when they go to the job, they will understand that is not the use case. They need to perform. That gap we need to fill. Okay, so then all these years, the expectation is using Terraform, we need to provide the complete ISC solution. Okay, otherwise we can use HDK or CDK. What is the meaning of CDK? Is Cloud Development Kit. Instead of Software Development Kit, AWS will give that CDK also. That is also one HDK itself. But that is also not the modern approach. Now what we need to use? Our agents itself are going to use. And that agents will have the capability to create that IAC also. Okay, and they will have the CLI capabilities, CDK capabilities. Depends upon the requirement, it will choose which method it need to use, which tools it need to use. These kind of agents the companies are expecting. Okay, but the traditional DevOps also is going to replace with AI itself. Okay, so that's we need to understand. Compared to companies, what they are going to implement in the next 2 to 3 years, we need to learn here. Okay, then only we are going to get the success. Okay, so then I'm going to use EC2. So now here we'll navigate something AWS. Everyone spend minimum 2 to 3 hours on the AWS console. Okay, Azure almost similar console. So maybe we have moved from like maybe we have X and Facebook. So both are social media, but navigation may be different. Terminology may be, but easy to manage or not. Flipkart, Amazon, both also. But why you like Flipkart? Why you like Amazon means we don't like Flipkart. We don't like Amazon. We like the offers in that. Okay, if the product is having more offers, I like Flipkart. Okay, if the product is at cheaper price with Amazon, I like Amazon. In the same way, clients also will like AWS or Azure in the same way. Some services they like in AWS, some services in Azure. Lot of people will assume we are living for only Azure itself. We are living. We will die for Azure. Not like that. Whatever the business requirement, we need to implement. Okay. So only AWS I want, only Azure. It doesn't work out like that. Okay. So now here we are going to launch an instance. But before going for instance, just navigate all the services. So now here, most of them what we are discussing comes under computing. Okay, even we have a lot of services. Beamstack we have, ECS will come, EKS will come. Okay, serverless applications we can deploy. Light sail is also is there. Very like a small scale servers we can get. Huge services we have. Okay, then we are getting quantum technologies or machine learning kind of things. Okay, everything under one roof itself. These are not services also again. These are all the categories. Okay, in that again we have around each category also will have 10 to 20 services. Like this, more than 230 plus services we have in AWS. Okay, so then after exploring these services, so here this one is for search. You can search for the services all those. And what is Amazon Q is Amazon Q is one AI-based agent to support you. If you have any problem, you can take the help of. I mean that is developed by Amazon itself for the support. Okay, so that's we can use here. And this is Cloud Shell. So that means instead of having CLI, browser-based shell that for CLI we can use this. Then this is the some notifications, all those we are going to get. And this for the support you can use here. If you have any problem, you can go to support center. Okay. The AWS, you are using a free tier also. AWS will provide the support. But we have the different support plans. If you take enterprise premium kind of thing, they will support very fastly. Okay. Then for one support plan, they're providing one dedicated AWS engineer also. Okay. For companies, instead of in the US taking one AWS like engineer, they will take it from AWS itself. Okay. Because he is more expert compared to outside, because Amazon itself is providing. Okay, so then here we are going to be using a free version, developer version like this. We have the different plans. Okay, then these are just the settings. What is the dark mode you want? This is very important. Now here, these are the regions we have. Okay, North Virginia, Ohio. Okay, these are the different regions, and every region will have an ID also. Okay, so what is the ID for Mumbai? AP South 1. Okay, Asian Pacific South 1. Asian Pacific South 2, we have Hyderabad. Okay, so then among these regions, again we have the zones here. Among the regions, again we have zones. What are those available zones also we'll discuss. Okay, then this is our account. Okay, if you use for real applications, lot of billing will come. For practice purpose, no use. Okay, so we can get that credit, but for the apps, if you use a lot of billing will come, because we have a lot of apps are deployed in that. That is the reason we are running a lot of production databases. For all those, they're charging this. Okay, and we have some Kubernetes applications are running. For all those, they're going to charge this amount. Okay, and how to optimize the cost also, we need to take care. In the monitoring wise, in the cost optimization also, AI is going to help us to the companies. So whatever the task we are expecting to do manually or through IAC, now that can be replaced by
Agents.
agents itself. Okay. So hence not traditional cloud and DevOps jobs we are not going to get it. Everything are replaced by
Agents.
agents. So now here I'll take one EC2 instance and go through some other services also, VPC, just navigate the services and write down the purpose of that service. What is the purpose of that service? And say in 2013, 2014, by teaching only 5 to 6 services only, we got the success. But today, minimum 30 to 40 services we need to do. But another technique is, what are the new services are coming? If you adopt very fast, we are going to get the success. Okay, some examples are, say now here we are getting Amazon Bedrock. Okay, or Amazon Bedrock Agent Core. Like this also, if we add these 5 to 6 new services, definitely we will get the success. Okay, so compared to EC2, last 15 years, some millions of people already use it, they got the expertise. EK is also like that. But if we add the new services, definitely we also will get more success. Because for others also, these services are new only. But they may be experts on Kubernetes, experts on VPC kind of. Hence, we need to add these services to our profile. Okay, so among that, one more is SageMaker we have for the AI kind of services. Okay, so like this here, SageMaker AI. So these services, enterprise AI will cover all this. Okay, normal people are learning only from the Gen AI wise or open source wise, but enterprises prefer these kind of solutions. Okay, so that's we need to add at the enterprise level how to use Bedrock, SageMaker. These services we need to add, and we need to train those models. Okay, and again, backend those are deployed on Kubernetes only, mostly in the real time. Hence, if you understand everything end to end interrelated. Okay, so outside what happen is they will learn agentic AI, but they don't know how to deploy anywhere also in the real time. Okay, that challenges we need to overcome here, and they don't know how to use enterprise AI services also. But if we want to go for a very higher position, always we need to have enterprise also, apps also we need to use. Okay, otherwise mostly startups, those kind of companies prefer. Okay, but at the final, we need to add enterprise AI services also we need to add. Okay, so hence go through all these services. Okay, old services also we need to get the expertise. New services very fastly we need to adopt. Okay, so that kind of expertise if we maintain, okay, the experienced people also, these new services they are starting now itself. Hence, very easily we can acquire that expertise. Okay,
Okay.
then here EC2 already I make it my favorite. Then here, why that billing is coming is we are running very high-end servers. We are running databases. We have load balancers. We have further that cost is coming. Okay, further that cost is coming. Okay, so then here if we go for the instances, we can see the status of the instance. We can see running, and we are getting the instance IDs. Okay, I'm going to launch an instance. Launching an instance shouldn't be an issue for us. And today everyone need to launch an instance and need to connect to an instance, and different flavors of Linux, different Windows servers, Mac, everyone try to provision. Okay, so then here I'm going to give a name for this instance, or my first EC2 instance, something you can give a better name. And in your company, for your naming conventions, you'll have the standards. Okay, that guidelines itself everyone need to follow. Okay, and we are going to get one document for this. The document is called as RFC, or request for change. Okay, so from the document, we are going to get all these inputs, and from that we need to configure whatever the name we have. My first EC2 is there. Here I given my EC2 first. Process wise, these small things also very big issues in the real time. Hence, you should be very, very careful with the process wise, naming conventions wise. Okay. And anyhow, manually, we are not going to do all these in the real time going forward. And we are not going to use IAC also in the future. All these days, we used to tell we are going to use all these through Terraform. But you no need to develop the Terraform also. Your agent itself will do. Okay, so whatever the enterprise applications which used to deploy in the real time 3 to 4 months, I deployed them within half day itself. Okay, so that's at the enterprise class level. Without doing a single mistake, it achieved the goals. Because those are agents, still issues may be coming, still it will iterate, and will give me the desired goal. Okay, I'll show practically also today. I'll just give one examples how we deployed all these websites. I didn't touch the console itself. Almost 8 to 10 applications we deployed. Okay, that 8 to 10 applications development, deployment manually if we do for 10 to 15 people, minimum it takes 3 to 4 months of time. But here only one engineer with the development, deployments, support, everything is that agents itself doing. Okay, so that much powerful automation is going to come. Still, if you are thinking to manually to do these things, there is not at all future is. Okay, still I want to learn AWS, I want to learn Azure. lot of people mindset is there. It doesn't work out like that. Okay, so that's we need to overcome. I'm going to create a name, and don't get confused. This is not the DNS name. It's just like a host name only. Sorry, this is just one dummy name itself for our purpose. On the instance level, this is not the host name. Okay, that technically there's not the host name for that computer. Okay, then here this is AMIs. Which OS you want, you can take. Lot of people having like a when we purchase the laptop, we may need to install OS. But nowadays people are getting with the pre-installed. But this is also like pre-installed OS. These are again you no need to install those OS. You no need to install. What we are getting? You want Amazon Linux, you want Mac, you want Windows, you want Ubuntu, Red Hat. Not only these, they are getting some thousands of images. Okay, we are getting thousands of images. This as reducing provisioning of instance time from hours to minutes itself. Otherwise, you want to install Ubuntu, it takes maybe minimum 1 to 2 hours. But here this is already pre-installed one. It's already. Then here I'm going to take Ubuntu instance. I'm going to take here Ubuntu instance. So here Ubuntu is having again versions, just like Windows, we have Windows 10, Windows 11. Like this, Ubuntu is having almost all even numbers they have. Like we have 14, 16.04, 18.04, 20.04, 22.04, 24.04. The latest version is 26.04. But as the 26.04 comes, the world may not run behind that. They want the stable release itself. Then they prefer to take 24.04. 24.04. Okay. So then technically maybe people may ask some differences between 24.04, 26.04. But for the basic purpose, we don't get much difference. Okay. So then what is that meaning of LTS? Okay, so here we have LTS, right? 26.04 is the version. What is that meaning of LTS? LTSR versions are long-term support release. Long-term support release. In the production, always will take long-term support release. I'll tell one example. In your mobile, we have an Android version. That is keep on upgrading. Every time you need to upgrade it. But if they take the long-term support release, you don't need to upgrade very frequently. And even support also is available for more period. Since in the production also, we don't take the higher versions. Always we'll take stable versions. Those stable versions are LTSR versions. What are the problems with the newer versions? May have a lot of issues because those are not tested properly. Hence, at the enterprise level, always companies prefer to use LTSR versions. What is that meaning of LTSR? Long-term support release. And what is this meaning of HVM is hypervisor virtual mission. That means it's not running on the physical. It's running on hypervisor and it is using solid state drivers. Hard disk type is solid state drivers and here like a root device type is EBS volume. Okay, so then again I'll launch it. While switching from 22.04, 24.04, they are facing some issues. And here we are using the AMI. What is the meaning of AMI is? It's a pre-configured OS template. It's a pre-configured OS template, and we are going to take Ubuntu. And if I go for Red Hat versions are different, Amazon Linux versions are different. Hence, you prepare a chart like these versions I have used. In Amazon, I worked with Amazon 2, Amazon 22, 23. Okay. Otherwise, Red Hat, I worked with 8, 9. Okay. Ubuntu, I worked with 2204, 2404. Windows servers, I worked with 2022, 19. Like that, we need to tell. And here, architecture wise also, we have x86 is Intel and this is AMD type. Okay. Which hardware also we want, also we can choose here. x86 here we are going to select. Then this is very, very important. T3.micro. So T3.micro, this doesn't get a graphical kind of workloads. I have my AI app. I want more graphical kind of thing. Then these things are not enough. Okay. But why we are going to choose these small resources are, we are using free tier account. As we are using the free tier account, we are going to take. And the T3 is one of the hardware family. Okay, so we have different families. Those all will compare in the instance types. Okay, as of now, we are going to take T3 family, we are going to take it. Then, like key pair is very, very important. Okay, so what is that key pair? I will explain. Okay, so in the EC2 instance, we are getting from the cloud, we are getting, they don't not providing username and passwords. For the security purpose, we don't have the passwords. Instead of that, we are going to get the key pair. A key pair is a combination of public key and private key. So what is the difference of public key and private key is just like your username and password. Your username you can share with anyone, right? Because my email ID I can share to anyone, but I don't want to share my password. In the same way, private key is our key. Public key is with the instance. Both are paid. I'll tell you an example. We have a lock and key. Both should be paid, right? One lock I have, another key I have, both doesn't work. In the same way, both have been paid. And that private key we should have. You have a bike without having your key, you can't open that. But that public key is with that where you are going to open that, that is the public key kind of thing. Okay. So in the same way, here we are getting public key and private key, but don't use those examples. These are the crypto kind of like encrypted algorithms we have, and no one in the world can generate similar kind of key pairs. Very unique kind of key pairs are going to be getting. Okay. So in order to generate these algorithms, RSA is a very one powerful algorithm the companies are using. RSA is one of the encryption algorithm, but now in the new one, we are getting ED25519. The new algorithm is, okay, ED25519. Which one is recommended as of now is ED25519 you choose. Okay, you don't need to go more deep into those, but these two are the encryption algorithms. Okay, why we are not using username and passwords? Those are, there is no security with those. Okay, so then here we are going to generate a key pair. I'm going to generate a new key pair, and here we have RSA ED25519. Okay, all these years, some millions of people are using RSA itself. But now the Ubuntu, all these Linux also internally using ED25519 itself. Okay, so then here you can choose which one you want. Given my AA key, anything is fine as of now, but in the real time it's recommended ED25519. Okay, then these file formats, two file formats we have, .tem dot ppk we are getting. One is dot pem we have, dot ppk we have. What is this meaning of PEM and PPK? We'll discuss. Dot PEM stands for Private Enhanced Mail. Okay, it's a Private Enhanced Mail. Okay, and PPK stands for Putty Private Key. Okay, normally in the OpenSH dot PEM format is supported. Okay, but in our Windows we are using Putty. Putty won't support dot PEM format. That is the reason we are converting into PPK. Okay. So now here they are giving both the formats. Don't download PPK. As of now, download PEM itself. Don't download PEM itself. We need to use. Now we are going to download that key pair. If this key pair, if you don't have, okay, it's almost impossible to connect to that instance. If you don't have that key pair, okay, but there are some other techniques as of now. But without having the key pair, assume it's impossible to connect to this. And whatever that PEM we got is public key or private key? Private key. Then where is the public key? There is the public key then. With the instance, public key is there. Okay. But you lock your room, this lock where you will keep. You don't bring both of them, right? You will keep the lock at that key you will bring. Okay. In the same way, public key is with instance and private key is with us. And both have been paid. And if I use another private key, it doesn't work. Because both have been paid there. Okay, I have another private key, a PEM file I will use. That means then there is no security at all. Okay, so definitely we need to use the same. Hence, it's mandatory we need to secure this PEM file. And for unauthorized people, never give that one. But your bike keys, car keys, you don't give to anyone, right? Only those who trust or who are authorized to perform, for them only we will give. In the same way, this also we need to do maintain like that. Okay, so in the same way, we are going to keep this one. And if you want to connect from Windows, we need to use one software called as Putty. Not mandatory Putty itself, but first 1 week, everyone try to connect through Putty itself. Okay, so there are other easy techniques also, but follow Putty itself. Okay, then in the Putty, by default, .pem is not supported. Okay, Putty required one more file format, that is .ppk. Putty doesn't support .pem format. We need ppk stands for Putty private key. Putty private key. In order to convert the .pem to ppk, okay, so we have one tool called Putty Gen. Okay, so Putty is to connect. Putty Gen is for to convert that PEM to PPK. Lot of people will ask and ask one thing is directly we can download PPK only, right? Okay, but that is not a best practice. You want to connect from line X to line X, we need PEM. Okay, hence always download a PEM format and convert it to at least in the initial days. Because PPK format, they have included only 3 to 4 years back itself. If the instance has been created previously, they got PEM itself. Okay, so then this PEM we are converting into PPK. Using without that also we have different techniques. Okay, and one more very important technique as of now, not through Putty, also in the real time. Okay, we need to using SSM, we need to connect. AWS has provided one SSM. that SSM how to connect, and AI agents also will do lot of automation by connecting through that technique itself. That's the reason we need to understand AWS SSM very well, because AI agents on the EC2 will do lot of automation through SSM, connecting through the putty, all these also, like not the AI-based solutions. Through the SSM, we can automate lot of things that we need to understand. Okay, these all working people also have very limited access or very limited knowledge. That expertise, if we deliver, then we are eligible for the current jobs. Okay, then RSA is fine. It supports both of them as of now. But for Windows, only RSA we need to generate. ED25519 is only for Linux itself. Okay. Then we are going to choose the networking. By default, we are getting this default VPC, all this. As of now, don't worry about this. We are getting the default VPC, and the subnet also is selected by default. Okay. Then we are creating a security group. Security group is nothing but a firewall. Okay. We are getting a firewall also here. And in that firewall, I'm opening SSH traffic. What is that? I'll explain. So now we have our Linux instance. Linux instance is in maybe in AWS region. In their data center, they will have servers. In the servers, they are going to install a hypervisor. On top of the hypervisor, our instance is running. Okay, we are connecting over internet from our laptop. Okay, so that means from our laptop, we are connecting to that instance which is running on a hypervisor in the AWS data centers. That means in that server, we don't have only one instance also. Hundreds of instances are running. But we are connecting to that virtual machine. In the back end, AWS provides one virtual firewall. What is the role of firewall is? Firewall is going to filter the traffic, okay, and we'll have some allow and deny kind of rules. Okay, based on that, it's going to allow the traffic. If it is allowed, say just like if we go to the mall, we'll have a security guard, right? Okay, he will have the instructions to whom we need to send or to whom we don't need to send. Like this, you are going to follow that rules. So now here, the security group is not a firewall. Those firewall rules we are configuring. Firewall rules. Okay. So now here we have inbound and outbound rules we have. What is the meaning of inbound is? What is the traffic coming to that instance? Outbound is from the instance to outside, what is the traffic is going on. Okay. So those both we are getting. Now here what is this meaning is allow SSH traffic from anywhere. That means in the Linux instance, if this is in the AWS, say here, this is assume Linux. I'm connecting from my laptop over internet. Then in that Linux instance, if we don't open SSH22, we can't take the remote connection. Okay, I took an instance and I can't connect means I can't perform any operation. That is the reason it's mandatory. We need to open 22. Okay, if it is Windows, 3389 should be open. Okay, 3389. For Linux, we need to open 22 for SSH purpose. But for Windows, 3389 for RDP purpose. Remote desktop. These are not a new things. You have any remote Linux machine also, 22 should be open. Any remote Windows machine, we need to open RDP port. Okay, these are not the new things, but in AWS also we need to perform the same things. Okay, in Azure also the same things. Okay, so now here we are opening, and here one risk is from anywhere I'm opening is a risky kind of. Means I'm opening the door, but for everyone I'm opening. Okay, that is the risky kind of thing. That means if I open the door, anyone can come. But that's we need to restrict as of now. That itself is showing the warning for us. What is this warning is, you open 0.0.0.0/0, that means any public IP, that is the risky it is mentioning for us. Okay, and I hosted a website, then I need to allow HTTP traffic. Or we are going to use HTTPS, then that HTTPS we need to open. But as of now, I am opening SSH only. If I don't open SSH, what is the problem? I can't connect to that instance remotely. Okay, I can't connect that instance. Here risk is 0.0 is risky. That itself is showing. Okay, so in the real time, what we can do is only my IP 124.123. If I give, okay, my internet has given this IP as of now. If you go to the home, we can't connect to that instance because your public IP maybe changes. But only for this IP only it allowed. But more secure or not? There you can change there that IP. This is called as a whitelisting the IPs. Okay, so that means we need to whitelist. If you got 5 to 6 developer IPs, only for them only whitelist. Don't give anywhere. Don't give the anywhere. Then storage. The backend to this, it is using the storage, EBS volume. So just like a hard disk kind of thing. And how much storage we are getting? 8 GB we are getting. Okay, 8 GB we are getting, but in the real time we don't want to take 8 GB. Okay, we'll have lot of data would be there, lot of media, lot of unstructured data, lot of application logs will come. Okay, so that is the reason minimum you need to take like 80 GB, like a 256, 512, like this we need to take. Okay, but as of now, this is the root volume only. Even we can add more volumes also, just like C drive, D drive kind of. Okay, so I'm going to create here 12 GB minimum. I'm going to give. And what is this GP3 is? General like purpose. In that we have the different types. We'll discuss more on GP2, IO1, IO2. But why we are not choosing, these are expensive. IO1, IO2 are, but for production, better to choose IO2 is best. But as of now, GP3 is the best one for free time. And how much IOPS we are getting? What is the meaning of IOPS is input and output per second. Input and output per second. How many read and write operations will happen between your instance and disk? More read and write operations, more performance. Okay, less read and write operations. So suppose I'll tell one example. We have a Flipkart. Flipkart application need to retrieve the product data from database. If you have less IOPS, it takes more time to display your products. Have more IOPS. Hence, for production, even compared to GP3, we can go for provisioned. IO2 is recommended. And say here we have one more is there. Throughput also is there. Throughput is nothing but how you are measuring your internet speed. Okay, so I'm measuring with 100 Mbps or 200 Mbps. Like this, how much data it can transfer. By default, we are getting around 125 Mbps. We are getting 125. But if you want more, definitely for internet, you need to pay more amount or not. In the same way, here AWS also will charge more money for us. Okay, but for production workloads, to perform the operations very fastly, we need to increase. For free time, go with the default options. And we can add the other file systems also. As of now, we are attaching EBS only, and we have advanced details also we'll discuss. I'm going to launch the instance. I'm going to connect to the instance. This is 15 years back technique. Today, it doesn't at all work out. Okay, so it doesn't at all work out. In my region, already I have reached that vCPU limits. Okay, so that is the reason that the blocking. You can change the region and again create it. I'll change the region. Like mostly my applications I hosted on Mumbai itself. Okay, that is the reason. So here I'm going to launch an instance very fastly and I'll connect to that also. So now here we move to North Virginia. We have moved. I'm taking Ubuntu itself. Initial days, whenever you're practicing Linux, take Ubuntu, Red Hat, Amazon, Linux. All the three try to practice. Okay. Ubuntu 26.04. We created the key pair, right? That key pair, it doesn't come here. The scope is only within the region only. We changed the other region, right? That key pair doesn't come. Because most of the EC2 resources scope is within that region itself. Okay, so that doesn't come to here. So here if you drop down also, this is another key pair I have created previously. That key pair I got. Now here I'm going to create a new key pair. And which algorithm you want to choose. PEM is recommended format. And take some old EC2 instances also, like some videos on YouTube, 4 years back, 5 years back, EC2 videos also, just go through how that EC2 console. Okay, so if you see Facebook 10 years back, you don't believe Facebook looks like that. In the same way, always when we see the modern UI, the old UI looks awkward itself. Okay, and previously we have almost 7 next steps you need to give to create an instance. But as of now, we have only one page itself. Previously, next, we need to give almost 7 steps, but almost same options itself. But the navigation is different.
Twist.
Okay. Then remaining default options, storage minimum, make a practice of minimum 20 GB. And here we have very powerful advanced options also we'll discuss. Even we can do a lot of automation using advanced options also. We have user data, those all options also we'll discuss. As of now, just I'm launching an instance. If I launch an instance has been created. Okay, in the US data center, that instance has been created. Okay, and we are going to get one instance ID also. Previously, very long back, only 6-digit IDs we used to get, but with the millions of instances created, they can't generate unique IDs. Then they made it longer instance IDs because all over the globe they need to give unique instance ID. Okay, so this is the instance ID we got. Most of the automation going forward, we can do based on instance ID also. Okay, and AWS has giving us one public IP, one private IP for these instances. Okay, we are going to get the public IP and the private IP. So here, what is the public IP we got? 44.193.28.6. And from my laptop, if I want to connect, do you need to use public IP or private IP? No. Private IP is only for internal communication. Okay, so definitely over internet, we need to use public IP only. Internal for communication purpose, private IP is fine. And here we got the private IP range, right? What is that we got? Private IP range 172.31. Okay, so why we'll get that 172 series also we'll discuss in VPC. Okay, so here each and everything, like what is this instance ID? IPv6 we are not getting, instance state is running, everything is learning for it. Okay, so then previously these are some interview questions also previously, but today no one asking these kind of questions. Okay, so then public DNS name, host name, we given my first or USA first something name. That is just only one tag itself. But technically this is the DNS name. Okay, so technically this is the DNS name. Then we got the VPCs. Here you can see the security alarms, monitoring, networking, storage, tags. Very soon they may add some agents also here. That the task agents itself will perform on behalf of us. Okay, so maybe increasing some instance volumes. All these days we used to do manually. Okay, but our agents will do very like strongly they can do it. Now, like we need to connect to this instance. Okay, I'm going to use putty as of now. Then we don't have putty here. We can download the putty. Okay, so putty software downloads, installations. Maybe 15 years back, people doesn't have that skills because the non-IT people doesn't know computers. But today, everyone knows all this. Okay, so these all not an issue for us. Everyone need to manage very fastly. Okay, so putty we need to download. Go from putty.org and download the putty software. Here better to take 64-bit. If you install putty, automatically putty gen also will come. Okay, it's a very small package. Okay, we can use even mobile XTerm also. Going forward, we'll use mobile XTerm. We have some advantages using mobile XTerm also. But first one we use putty itself and convert that PEM to PPK. Okay, so then connect through putty. And from Linux to Linux, we need to understand how to connect also. So now that putty has been installed here, I'll go to putty and automatically putty gen also we got. Now first I don't want to open putty. I need to use putty gen and I need to convert that PEM file to PPK. So now here we have two options, right? Generate and load. Okay, any guess which one we need to use? No. Already key pair has generated. Again, you no need to because AWS itself has generated the key pair for us. Okay. Hence, I'm going to use here load. Okay. Then it may be in my downloads or somewhere I have. But why it is not displaying is the filter is .ppk we have. But file extension is .pem. And this is my key pair. Now save as public key or private key? Private key this is. This is our private key, not the public key. Okay. So now here you need to use load, copy that PEM file. By default, you don't filter that. All files, select. These kind of navigations also everyone need to do. Okay. If you spoon feed, you are very happy, but that is not the expectations. This all everyone need to do it very fastly. More advanced automation is the expectation. These things, like at layman level also, everyone can. Okay, so connecting to the instances, these all very basic as of now. For this purpose, you are not coming to learn here. Okay, so these all very basic. Okay, normal how you are using your browser or other apps. In the same way, we need to adopt it. Okay, initial days will have some, but do 5 to 10 times and make a practice of using. somewhere it is saved. And now, not mandatory same name should be given. That in that the content what we have is encrypted format. That is important, not the file name. Okay. So now that putty job is done. We saved that into PPK file. Okay. Now we can close this. Now I need to take that public IP. This is my public IP. Okay. Then I'm going to connect through putty. Now here I need to enter that public IP. Okay. Then if I enter private IP, we don't get the connection should be established. That is the reason we can't connect over the internet. Only public IP only. As of now, we can access. But to access that private IPs also, we have some solutions. We'll discuss that. Okay. So then here I'm going to use SSH authentication credentials. Okay. In the authentication credentials, I need to give PPK file. Try to give PEM also. It won't allow. Okay. Try to give. This is my PPK file. Okay. Then open. It is going to give an alert. That's no issues. Then login as like username. By default on the Linux, the username is root, but AWS has restricted that root account. Okay, don't give always more privileges. Okay, they have given the username is Ubuntu. By default for Ubuntu, what is the username is Ubuntu itself. If it is Amazon Linux, Red Hat, EC2-user. Okay, as of now, I'm going to log in using Ubuntu. Then here I log into this. Okay, so make some like new session you can open, duplicate sessions. These kind of tools in the real time, around 50 to 100 a software engineer will use. Okay, for this again, make a practice of using all these tools. Different tools. Okay, so in this, what are the putty competitors we have? Those also one or two tools you need to adopt. Okay, when you join in a new project, try to understand what are the tools they're using. But don't ask, explain me that these all self-managed kind of things. Okay, so no need to have a instructor to teach all this. It's all self-managed. Okay, so then everyone need to type here minimum 100 to 200 Linux commands. Okay, 100 to 200 Linux commands everyone need to practice. We require very good knowledge on the Linux. Okay, so we need to have very good knowledge on the Linux. Okay, so now like we'll discuss some Linux commands. All those also we'll discuss, and how to make the websites, app servers. Okay, so this is also managing the Linux manually. Also, almost 15 to 20 years back techniques. But also everything we need to automate it. Everything we need to automate. Okay, so now how to create connect. Okay, previously our job is done, but I'll add some AI use case on top of that. But today I'm going to add one AI use case. Now here we are going to perform like whatever the Linux admin, we don't have Linux knowledge assume, but we are giving that capabilities to my Gen AI. We are going to give. We are going to give that capabilities on behalf of us. We are going to write one Gen AI kind of code that will do some Linux operations on behalf of us. But we need a DevOps engineer to manage. These are the very basic steps. Going forward, more advanced use cases we need to perform. More advanced use cases. So now here, previously we used Google Collaborator. That's having inbuilt virtual environment for Python workloads. But now on this instance itself, we are going to install. Then what is the first step before installing any packages is we need to update our repo. Okay. So what is our repo here is for Ubuntu, apt is our repo. So just like in the Windows, we have a Play Store, or maybe in the Android also we have a Play Store or App Store. In the same way, apt is our packager. We are installing all the packages from apt. That is on Ubuntu. Then what is the pip we use? That is the Python packager. Python packages, binaries, all those we can use. Pip we can use. But here, I'll tell one example. To the apt update and upgrade also I'm doing. So before installing Python, I'll install one web server here. What is the role of web server? Everyone are using the websites, right? In order to host your websites, we need a web server. How to deploy our web server? We need the computing. For that computing itself, we took an instance. Then on top of that, I'm going to deploy one web server. Okay. What is the leading web servers we have in the market is? Okay. Apache is one of the leading web server we have. Okay. Apache is one of the leading web server, and HTTPD is their like name of that. Apache or Apache HTTPD. Second one is Nginx is one of the leading web server. On Windows, we have IAS. On Windows, we have IAS. Very long back, you want to install Nginx means you need to download Nginx like maybe RPM kind of package. In Windows, you will get exe format, MSA format. Now, Putty we downloaded MSA format, right? Microsoft installer. In the same way, we used to get RPM, PKG formats. But that is not the secure way of installing the packages. Now in your Android also, we are getting APK formats. Directly don't install APK. Anything install from the Play Store itself. In the same way, here directly don't download those packages. Install from apt from the itself is recommended. Okay, so now here on my Linux instance, this is doing apt upgrade or update, it is performing. After that, I'll install Nginx. Try to understand the apt. What is that meaning of sudo? First, I will explain. We log in as not as the root user. We log in as Ubuntu user. By default, for Ubuntu, we don't get that permission. Then I'm escalating my permissions to root by giving sudo. By default, giving the root access is security-wise risky. That system can do anything also, or that scripts can do anything. But we are giving the permission of root whenever we want. That is the reason we are giving here sudo. Okay, without giving the sudo, Ubuntu user can't perform that activity. The normal way, keep that system like that itself. Don't give unnecessary permissions. Okay, so hence here I am going to use sudo apt install nginx. If I run this command, it prompt me whether I need to continue yes or no. I don't want that prompt. Then here I am going to give -y. If I give -y, what is going to happen? It is not going to prompt me. Automatically it will install. Okay, so now here everything is update. Then here sudo, otherwise I don't give here sudo. app install Nginx I'm giving, then definitely okay, some like a permission denied because this user doesn't have the permission for that. Okay, then I'm going to give now this is giving this prompt yes or no. Again, I need to type here why. I don't want to give like this. In the automation, we can't give like this in the middle of this. Then better to use a hyphen y itself. Okay. Now my web server has been installed here. I want to open my web server. I want to see whether that web server is working or not. Okay. Then I'll take that public IP and I'll open this in the browser. Okay. Now the browser by default port is 80. Okay. You don't need to give here colon 80. You don't need to give because by default the port itself. Now I need to expect to get a web page. But why I'm not getting the web page? Any guess who is blocking us? Who is blocking here is in my firewall. I open only 22. I didn't open HTTP port. I didn't open in my security group. I didn't open only for 22. I opened. That's the reason I'm able to connect. But my 80 port is not opened there. Okay. So then here I'll go to my instance security group. Security group is firewall or firewall rules. Those firewall rules are called as security group. A lot of people are telling now firewall itself. But that's fine. But these are technically the firewall rules. In that we are going to configure inbound and we'll go to this instance, go to security. Here, this is the security group has been attached. And in that we've opened the port 22. Okay, now I'll go to this security group. Inbound only one rule we have. I'm editing that inbound rule. Because now from my laptop to that server, I need to open the port. That is the reason we are opening inbound rule. Now, don't open all traffic. Security wise, that is very risky. For you, it's simple, okay, unnecessary multiple times I need to open, but we shouldn't do these kind of mistakes. Always give least privileges only. Always gives the least permissions only, least privileges only we need to give. Okay. Now here, for HTTP, giving from anywhere is not an issue. But for SSH, giving anywhere is risky. Hence, only whitelist for some IPs only SSH. But web you can give the permissions to anyone to open. Okay. Save these rules. So now I'm getting my web page. But we will deploy beautiful websites also on top of this. But these all the activities manually I'm doing, right? Now AI can perform all these operations also. Okay, we may have some hundreds of servers, or automatically it can deploy also. And if any of the server, if that application not working also, it can provide self-healing kind of things also. Okay, so these all like maybe for the current market it suits, but the future of managing all these are changing. Okay. So now this is the server from AI use cases will switch. Okay. So from some AI use cases, we are going to install, like most of the programs we are going to use AI based, Python we are going to use. Okay, that is the reason we are going to install Python and Python pip. Git also we are going to install. Most of the AWS instances by default we are getting Python and Git also. Okay, now almost three packages. Sorry, and I'll change the font size. To apt install, we are installing Python 3 and Python 3 pip, Git. These three we are installing. Okay, if you go for Google Colab, you don't need to set up all these. Okay, because that's already virtual Python environment they're provided. But now here on the instance, they're setting up the Python. For some Python scripts, we can take this practice also. On this itself, we can do some use cases from here. We can do it. Okay. So now again, I'm making clear, and we can check the Python versions and all those also. Try to verify the Python version, pip3 version. Then I'm going to create one directory. Okay, mkdir is going to create a directory, and cd is the change directory. Now, like if you go for pwd, present working directory, like this, we need to practice minimum 100 to 200 Linux commands we need to practice. Okay, so then, so here through pip, we are going to install OpenAI and Python.env. These are the libraries we want to use. As of now, we'll use OpenAI as our Gen AI tool. OpenAI, previously we used Gemini, we have used, but we are going to use OpenAI. But what is the problem with the OpenAI is they're not giving more free limits. Again, we'll come back to Gemini itself. Okay, now as we are going to use OpenAI SDK, we need to install those modules or libraries. And Python.env also is one of the library. Why we'll use that library also we'll discuss. Okay. As of now, two libraries we are going to. So now here for some libraries, okay, they're not trusting. Then I'm going to use it is giving one more permission like now those all the packages has been installed. Who installed here? This is pip3 has been installed because we are not using apt here. pip3 is our packager in this. Okay. Now we are not directly doing on this. We are creating one virtual environment. Okay. venv, this is the command. On that environment, we are going to work. Okay. So here I'm going to create one virtual. some other binary it is asking. And definitely we need to give. And directly don't go to sudo su mode. That's not a best practice. Okay, directly you can go to sudo su and now we move to one virtual environment. On that also again we need to install our binaries we need to install. Once we got this, so now we created one virtual environment. Directly you can do on the instance also, but I created a virtual environment for our practice. Okay, on top of this, like again we are installing on this virtual environment, again we are setting up all these prerequisites. Okay, so now we are going to set up one .env file. Why we are setting up this .env file is, in the previous code, we directly passed our Anthropic key or maybe like our API keys. That is not a best practice. Now we are going to set up that in one .ena file. I am going to set up one ENA file. I am going to set up, and in that ENA file, I am going to keep my tokens. But even that is also not a best practice. We even still we need to encrypt them. Okay, but as of now, I'm going to create one file .env file. We are passing our values as environment variables. So that is the purpose we are going to use .env file. Okay, in the .env, okay, I'm going to use one editor. Vi is our editor. Now here what we need to do is our OpenAI API key we need to pass. So just like in the Gemini AI we went and we created one API key. Now here we need to create one OpenAI key we need to enter. Okay, that OpenAI key, if you are using Claude, then Claude also will provide the API key. Okay, I'm going to get that OpenAI API key. Already I log in with my Gmail. If you don't have, you can create an account in OpenAI. The ChatGPT backend again also is the OpenAI is there. Okay, that is the company. Their product is ChatGPT. Okay, now here these all the tokens we have. You can delete these APIs or new key we can create. So long back I have one created. I'm going to create a new create a key. So this we need to keep in a very sensitive location. Most of the tools for second time they don't give to show those keys. Hence we need to save that one. Otherwise, each and every time I need to revoke and need to create it. Okay. But like this, even in the ENV wise also, keeping is not a best practice. Okay. So for dev environments is fine. For productions, we need to keep in a secure location. Now this I'm going to copy into my My .env file I'm going to copy. Go to insert mode here. If you press, you go to insert mode. Okay. I'll use nano for time being. It's some keyboard issues. Okay, so now this file has been copied. Okay, that file content has been copied. Save it, Control X, save and exit. So now make sure like that content has been there. Now we need to create one Python program. Okay, so what this program is doing is import OS is one of the Python library. On the OS level, you want to read the files, all this. And the subprocess is one Python library to execute commands. Linux commands through Python, if you want to execute, we are going to use subprocess. And from the environment while we are going to import our env file, all this, and that OPA taken. So this method, what is advantage is, previously we return the key, automatically we given our open API key. But now what we have done, we saved that one in one hidden file .env file. From that we are seeing, and if someone sees that code, they're not going to get that env file like we are seeing. But this token we are not directly passing here. Okay, that means directly keeping that key pair that key is not a secure way. Okay, we are going to pass it through .env file, and from that we are reading this env file. Okay, then we have given the same commands. So now I'm going to create this Python script. I'm going to create this Python. I'll try itself. .py we need to give. The .py is the extension for that script we are going to give. Is this mouse is working? No, no. This. Okay, say here .pyy is not the correct format. Okay, so then so now here we got dot like py format we got. Okay, so now I'm trying to execute this Python script. I want to execute this Python script. We want to execute. So we can use the Python 3, and what is our script is. Okay, so now it is asking your Linux question. You ask as a layman that Linux, and our AI is helping to generate those Linux questions. Only for the first time, for the practice purpose, we are going to use. Okay, you can ask your Linux any of the Linux question. Then, based on our prompt, it is going to use the Gen AI, and from that it is going to retrieve, because you don't know the Linux command. Even normally, we are going to use in the Chat GPT, and you are going to ask. Okay, but here we will get one problem, that OpenAI, we don't have the licenses, or we have the quota we don't have. So what is the message we are getting here is, you exceeded your current quota. That model OpenAI what we have used is, okay, so that exceeded our quota. So now here I'll share this script. In that I have developed using Gemini, also is giving us free quota. Okay, so then what we need to change is, yeah, so here if you want to use OpenAI, we installed OpenAI SDK, but now we are going to use, okay, say Google like this SDK we need. Then in your ENE file, you keep Google Gemini API key, you copy. Google Gemini API key you need to copy, and these commands you need to keep. So now here we are going to, from Google, we are going to import Gemini. Previously we use OpenAI is our model. Okay. So going forward, we can use even multiple models also. And here, which model we are going to pass? Gemini 2.5. You want to use 3.5 also, you can specify. Previously, we used the Gemini 3.5 Flash. Okay. So everyone need to execute this script. I'll share this file. Okay. These all the scripts on your EC2 instance. We need to connect and need to perform. Okay. How to perform all these also have given. Okay. So then we have some other scripts also. All these, like how to perform for our use cases, we'll discuss going forward. Okay. The same thing, if you want to use Claude, I'll show. Okay, I don't have public key here. I connected to this EC2 instance. I don't have keypad. That's the reason I connected through browser itself. I connected. Okay. In this mission, we have the complete Claude is there. Okay. For all our websites, everything has been here in this. As of now, I'm in the Ubuntu by default, the root we got. Okay. In the console, they're given the root. Now we want to open the Claude session. We need to go for Claude is the command. Okay. So now here you can do anything. Again here the authentication is required. And as of now, that model they're using is Hable 5. The most powerful model available as of now in the Anthropic is okay, Fable 5. Okay, they stopped the support for others, but only for temporary they given again the access. And through 12th onwards, okay, like only for the APIs they're going to give, not for the usage wise. Then you can use the no, we can use Opus. We can use Opus is the another, or Sonnet is another model we have. Okay. Now again I exit. So now here I'll tell one example. So we have one product called NRI Globe. So we have one product called as, I need to go to that folder I went. I'm using the Claude here. Okay. So now for this NRI Globe, whatever the things I want to perform. Okay. So this is the portal we have for all the NRI news, all these. Okay. In this, what we can do is we can post the content, all these instead of manually posting, we can do it through AI itself. We are going to post it. Okay. Normally we need to post it manually. We are going to post. That means I need to take a lot of posting, data entry kind of people. All this now that on behalf of us, Claude itself is going to perform. Just this is one example I'm trying to give. Here I need to go to my Claude server. So this is the prompt I'm giving. Whenever you are giving the prompt, it's mandatory. We need to give the role to the AI. Okay. So here I'm going to give. Okay. So I'm going to give you are a news journalist covering NRI news. Now I'm going to give this prompt to my Claude. Then this itself is going to collect the news and is going to create an image and it is going to post into my website also. Okay, so this is going to post into the website. The complete agents, everything in the backend is already set up. I'm just giving the prompts. Okay, even I can make it instead of giving this prompt also, every day latest 10 jobs, try to post it like this, I can give. Okay, then automatically night, if you schedule a cron job, automatically is going to schedule. Okay, but definitely we need the licenses, all these tokens for free. They're not giving this. There would be some limits. It is collecting even some information from the different websites also. Okay, it is collecting the websites, all this. Hence, everything is depend upon the prompt itself. Okay, and here if you go to this folders, all this also, everything, code, deployments, everything is generated by Cloud itself. Okay, so just we have given the prompts for this. So now it got some details regarding all the US movie releases, and it will post in this website. It is going to post. Okay. Now even say suppose here we have CloudSoft Sol. In this, whatever the jobs we are getting also, everything has been posted through like through the cloud itself. We are posting manually. If you want to take, I need to take lot of people to post all this. Per day they are posting only 15 to 20 itself. But within 1 hour, cloud can retrieve the data. It can post. It can create the images also. But for those images, all those we want, we need to give the proper APIs. We need to give. Okay, because Claude can't generate the images properly, then you can use Grok image or maybe like another models we need to provide. But that requires some again API tokens required. Okay. Previously that has been aborted. Now again I said to. Okay, so it asks is only to do the research like that. No, I said to publish also. Okay. So previously all these websites are on WordPress, but Claude migrated the complete websites into very modern tech stacks also. Okay, Next.js, Node.js, very modern tech stacks. It has been developed the complete application also. And one more we have. Okay, so this is also Cater Sub. This also has been developed within half day itself is developed. Okay, just like how we can book the orders, all these catering, all these, it's going to like people can book for the catering, mobile, Android, iOS, all apps it has been developed. Okay, this is also very advanced technology itself. It has used for this. Okay, these are very powerful like software development, deployments, all those agents also we have. Okay, once it deployed, it is automatically selecting on which category it need to post also. In the entertainment or movies, in the NRI Globe, we have different categories. In that, it is automatically picked that and it is posting in that.
Afi,
The coming to this assignments are like everyone need to create one AWS account, need to connect to EC2 instance. Okay, so normal if it is cloud job, DevOps jobs, that's maybe enough. But this AI is also some use cases. Okay, going forward from Terraform script, all those use cases also will add. For the practice purpose of OpenAI, we have some limitations. Otherwise, you can add some dollars like $5 like that. We can use it, or we have a lot of open sources also. We can use our free wise. Gemini we can use. Going forward, I'll get another. Those also we can use. Okay. Yeah. Any doubt?
Afi, आओ उठो 12:40 हो गया टाइम
Any doubts?
बच्चों को टिफिन देना ना
Any queries, I'll reach out to you.
Come again.
As of now, I don't have any
Okay.
doubts.
Sure. Sure.
If I'll go through
Tomorrow
once
using
practice
Gemini, how
session,
to execute those I'll show. But from these scripts, again try to perform that.
sure, sure.
Okay. Sure.